What is up, plant people? It is April 14th, and I am back with another episode of Planthropology. This is your host, Vikram Baliga. How are y'all doing? Are you hanging in there? I know it's been what feels like several decades of quarantine at this point, but we're making it, we're getting through it, and I hope you've been enjoying all the extra content we're throwing out there. A couple of things. I'm not going to talk too long today, but just want to throw out a few things before we get started. The first thing is you should really be in our Facebook group. It is called Planthropology's Cool Plant People, and it's pretty much just what it sounds like. Lots of cool plant people, lots of fun. Plenty of memes, good conversations, questions and answers. Sometimes the answers are even right. It's great. You should be a part of it, and I really hope you will join it on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, all the places. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but if you are supporting the show on Patreon, and if you'd like to, the link for that is patreon.com/planthropology. But at least for the next couple of months, while things are still, crazy, whatever they are right now, I'll be donating anything we get in through the Patreon or our local food bank, because so many people are struggling right now, and that just seems like the best thing we can do with that money. But also, if you are struggling, if times are tough, I 100% totally understand if you want to suspend your donations for a while. That is not going to hurt my feelings, or if you want to do it permanently, that's okay too. But again, thanks for everyone who supports, and your money right now is definitely going to a really good cause. So today's episode was recorded way back in December, actually, when I was driving around the state for a couple of conferences, some professional development and that kind of thing. I think I drove about 2,000 miles that week or something like that around Texas, and it was a long and busy and crazy week. But my guests, Kaylee Decker and Amber Bates, are two very, very old friends that I went to graduate school the first time with here at Texas Tech. We did research together. We drove all over the state together, had good times and bad times, and the same kind of stuff you go through with any group of friends. But doing research and all of that, which we'll talk about in the episode, I think really bonds people, and we really had a great time, and I couldn't have asked for better friends to work with and get through grad school with. So if it sounds like I'm rambling and chattering a lot in this episode because I just want to catch up with some old friends, that's exactly what it is, 100%. So I'm not sorry for that. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. So Kaylee and Amber run a really cool operation in the east part of Texas, north of the metroplex, the Dallas metroplex, called Grove Hill Farms, which is a really cool agritourism spot. We talk a lot about it. We talk about pigs and tulips and how people do things way more efficiently than I ever think to do it. But it's a really great episode. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you really enjoy this fun, laid-back, kind of winding at some points conversation with my old friends, Kaylee and Amber. So thanks for listening, and let me know what you think. Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm here with Amber Bates and Kaylee Decker at Grove Hill Farms. Is that right? Am I right?
Yes.
Are we in Grove Hill, Texas?
We are actually in Leonard, Texas.
Is Grove Hill, Texas a thing, or did I make that up?
Grove Hill, Texas is not a thing.
Okay, Grove Hill, Texas does not exist, so we're not there. We're in Leonard, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. It's really pretty drive in. I enjoyed my drive here.
It is fun. It's a fun drive. Not too far from the metroplex or anything like that. It's a nice drive.
Okay. So, anyway, we are here, and we're gonna chat about the farm, chat about y'all. So for you out there listening, Kaylee and Amber and I went to grad school together. I don't want to 10 years ago. I didn't want to say that number, but it's
10 years ago?
Pretty close.
It's been a long time.
It's not quite 10 years ago. So I started in 2010, so that's been almost 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, by the time this comes out, it will have been just about 10 years. I didn't want to think about that. I've been trying not to think about that, but that's a long time.
We're getting old.
A little. Just, yeah. Yes, we're getting old. That's okay. I guess tell me about yourselves. Tell me about how you got into plants, what you studied, where you're from, whatever you want to talk about.
Let me go first. All right. This is Kaylee. I got into plants Really not as early as I feel like most people who love plants. I remember growing up, my grandparents having plants and stuff like that. I grew up in a very rural area south of Abilene, and so farming, agriculture, all that was kind of always a part of my life. But I did never think that plants was what I was going to do when I grew up. I wanted to be a CEO of a really important company, actually. Decided to go to tech. Texas Tech was always my first choice. It's always where I knew I was going to go to school. Started out as just a general business major, but then took Intro to Hort as my lab science, fell in love. Fun fact, Amber was actually my lab TA
I didn't know that.
took Intro to
Okay.
Hort. Yeah. Had Dr. Montag as my instructor. But anyways, fell in love. Decided to switch my major the next semester, and here we are.
Was there a specific company you wanted to be CEO of?
No, just an
Okay.
important one.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I think those are good goals. Just, I'm going to be important. That's a good goal.
I don't know.
I like it.
It was kind of out of character for me, though. I feel like I'm a little more reserved, so I'm not sure how I was going to, make my way up the corporate ladder. But so maybe plants are better. Plants, don't talk back to you or anything.
No, that's true. That's kind of my favorite thing about them, actually. Intro to horticulture students do.
Yes.
So, we've all taught that lab.
Yeah.
I still teach that lab.
How
a little
fun.
bit. It's great. Hi, Amber.
Hi.
Tell me about you.
Okay, so I too was raised in a very rural area. I took no ag classes in high school, anything like that. But when it came down to going to college, I picked tech and got accepted to tech and decided to go there. And they asked me what I wanted to major in. I'm not really sure I had given it a whole lot of thought in life at that point. My plan was just to get out of the rural area for a bit. And so had a couple of ideas, but wasn't really sure. Was about to go undeclared when several people told me, please don't do that, pick something. And so after a long conversation with my dad, and sort of the family motto is if it's not fun, we don't do it. I decided some of my most fun, actually, childhood memories were hanging out at Grandpa's house and gardening and that kind of thing. And I guess I developed, even though I didn't really know it, a love for plants at that point in time. And so I picked horticulture and went, and Dad said, no pressure. You don't have to, stay horticulture if you don't want to or anything like that, but just go and have a major and get in with a group of people and group of friends. I had Dr. Peffley actually for Intro to Horticulture. Managed to get to take floral design my first semester out there as well. Fell in love like Kaylee and decided, well, I guess I'll stay, and ended up getting my master's and my PhD at Tech as well. And then always knew once I declared a major and kind of learned more about what horticulture was that I wanted to do some sort of agritourism aspect. And so when I graduated with my PhD, I decided to move back to Leonard and start pursuing my dreams there. So
awesome. Yeah, so I guess when I started, you were leading our lab group, right? So you were kind of in charge of all the 1411. Do you miss that?
I actually do miss 1411 some, and I miss teaching some. One of the really cool things we got to do this last year in our fall season was we had a Mommy and Me Day and a homeschool group day. So we kind of got to do field trips, and that's something we want to get more into. And it kind of gave me my teaching fix. I wasn't sure I missed teaching as much as I did until we had that. And then I was like, oh, I remember students and student interaction. And I actually really enjoyed teaching. I loved it. That was one of my favorite things I got to do there. So
that's cool.
I do miss it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring this up because I talked about it on a previous episode. But Daniel Cunningham and I had an interview a couple weeks ago, and we talked about Wheelbarrow Day.
Yes, we have talked about Wheelbarrow Day not that long ago.
Fun memories of Wheelbarrow Day. So going through grad school or just going through school, what thing is for me, that was kind of a formative moment because it was and that sounds weird because I was 23 or 24, but it was okay, we have to get this done. We have no choice but to push this flat wheelbarrow with mud.
Uphill both ways.
It sure
Yes.
felt like it. In 6 inches of mud in the rain and get it back to the greenhouse.
Yes.
So, like, what things stand out to you either in school or in your life that, like, kind of led you here? Like, you talked about you wanted to do agritourism, and, you know, with just the two of you, this is, I mean, I'm looking out the window at your beautiful farm, and it's a lot of work. So, like, what got you here? How did you end up in this place, in this, you know, at this pretty farmhouse table?
Well, you know, for me, some of my, most fun memories as a child, like I mentioned earlier, were with my grandparents.
Right.
Some of those memories were, I mean, I remember some of them were hard work. It was hoeing peas in the garden or whatever kind of deal, hoeing potatoes in August, and you know, it was work, but at the same time, really fun, special memories and memories for us as a family. And so that's part of what got me to the farm, was trying to give those memories to other people, and maybe not, you know, having to do all the hard work with it. We're here to do that, you know, kind of deal. But, you know, sort of more family fun and family memories and that kind of thing. So
You should have, like, a hard work appreciation day, and, like, everyone gets a shovel at the gate.
we've had planting parties.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we have.
Our family is well versed in our
Yes.
hard work.
They helped us plant our first round of Christmas trees. We told them it was a party, and we fed them.
We did.
And they pulled in
Yeah.
and locked the gate, and you were like,
yes, it might have
Must plant
taken
500 trees
all
before you-
day. Yeah. It was fun.
That is fun, though.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess, Kaylee, I'll come back to that question with you, but, like, your families have been pretty supportive of this, because, like, neither of your husbands do ag stuff, right?
Right.
No.
Like,
yeah.
at all?
No.
Okay. But
We have the fun jobs. Or Cameron and I like to say that he has, you know, the boring job, and I have all the fun.
Yeah.
At my job.
you get to have all the fun.
Yes.
You're using it all
Yes.
up.
Yes.
So he doesn't get any?
No. I mean, accountants have some fun, I'm sure.
I
but
don't know that they do. I'm not convinced that they do at work. I took one accounting class in college, and that was enough accounting classes for me.
For sure.
But sorry, Cameron, I'm not trying to just dog on your job. I don't know if Cameron will listen, but I'm sorry. So okay, yeah. So for you, like, what led you here? How did you get here?
Sure. So after I graduated tech, Cameron had already moved to Dallas, and so I know I needed to follow him, you know, since we were married and all.
Seems
but
important.
yeah. So I actually got a job at the Dallas Arboretum, and so I was there for almost 5 years. But in that time, Amber and I had stayed in touch, and she had kind of talked to me about her idea. And I remember one time Cameron and I even came out and looked at, they had a different piece of property that they thought maybe the farm would go on, and we kind of, you know, looked at it with her and stuff like that. And I don't know, I guess she was planting a seed or something. But anyways, it wasn't like an instant thing for me to jump on and be like, let's do this. It did take some time. But finally, I just decided that Amber was so passionate about this, and I knew she was. And I knew that from grad school and stuff and us working together there that we could work together really well. And I just thought it would be really fun to build this thing up from the ground up and see what happened, see how it took off. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, and you know, I think some of those experiences we were talking about, like, you know, hauling mud on the Wheelbarrow Day, or
There
you know,
are more.
there were
Yes.
plenty more.
Yes,
there
are more.
There was so you did primrose research,
Yes.
and aphids also love primrose.
Yes.
And so when we harvested primrose, we would also harvest quite a few aphids.
Yes.
And then there was, I guess Kaylee and I both studied olives during our
Mhm.
masters, which was just, I still can't look at olive trees.
Yeah, we were talking, I don't know, was it last week maybe, about each of us kind of had a thing, right? And mine was probably weighing and measuring, you know, like 2,300
about that.
individual olives.
Oh, yeah. We
my
had to
God,
measure
yeah,
both
I-
ways, we talked about, right? Like length and width. We had to use the caliper and make sure that
There
we
was
had...
no grouping them together and
Yes.
taking averages.
Weigh
It was
individual
literally
olives.
Yeah, that took
Yeah.
after
And
hand
I don't know if
harvesting.
you remember yours, but we think yours was when we had to defoliate
yeah. Oh,
all
my
the
God.
olives, and they
I've-
were so sticky.
Because all the scale.
Of all, yes, from
I've
all the scale.
Tried to block that out and here we are. But
Yeah.
no, that's okay.
We all have our moments.
We all had our moments. But that teaches you that you can do anything for one
sure.
thing, even terrible, really annoying stuff. You can do anything. But also, I think that like you said, it kind of proved to y'all that you could run a business together. Because if you can do all of those things successfully and, not push each other over in the mud, like I think that's
Yeah,
Right.
it's a bonus.
yeah, we can get through whatever.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's we'll just see where this goes. But let's talk about the farm a little bit. So what are just some of the basics? What do you do here? What is the point of Grove Hill Farm? So the word I actually wanted here was something more like a purpose or mission statement, but it came out point because I'm a jerk.
Okay, so the point of Grove Hill Farms is actually to provide a place where families can come seasonally and make memories.
Okay.
And we also really strive to offer quality seasonal products while they're here. So when I say seasonal, there's 2 seasons that we have right now, and we're looking to expand in the future. But right now we have a fall season, which is our pumpkin patch season, and we have a spring season, which is our tulip season. And then in the future, we hope to expand and have a Christmas tree season. We already have trees in the ground, so hopefully, yes, we get a Christmas tree season at some point.
I see them.
Yes,
Right
you
there.
can see them out the window. They are 4 or 5 years away, probably right now, from our
Okay.
first Christmas season. We have hopes of potentially putting in lavender in the future. We've got all kinds of ideas. We
Sure.
just need time to implement them. We do have grapes growing, so at some point we may have a winery or a wedding venue or party venue or something like that out here as well. So lots of ideas up here. Just got to get them out there.
I understand
So,
that.
yes.
That resonates with me for sure, because it's always like, oh, this would be great.
Yeah.
And then you start like, oh, but I have to do the thing. Like I have to plant. So Kaylee, you were saying you have how many thousand tulip bulbs to plant?
Yeah, so we have about 13,000 tulip bulbs we're planting this year. So it'll be our biggest planting so far. Last year we did about 6,000. So as our last kind of trial year, and it actually turned out to look really nice, and so we kind of spontaneously opened up for the public for a few days to come out and pick their own. But this year should be bigger and better, and we have all the things to go along with it, and so yeah.
Even 6,000, that just sounds like that's a lot of holes.
That's a lot of holes.
I mean, 6,000 holes. I think. Do you plant 1 tulip bulb per hole? I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
I feel like I
you
should
should
know.
Last year
hole,
we
but
did a little trench
you've got
planting.
to-
We stopped from
That's a
the
good idea.
individual.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
That is a much better idea.
Yes.
Because in my mind, I've got a drill.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm
Right,
poking
no.
6,000 holes in the ground and quitting at about 53, and like I'm gonna go. I don't know. Do not this. Because I know, like, when we get to planting, sometimes the nice thing is, like, so I at the greenhouse we'll get to planting stuff, and I'll plant for a while, and then I'm like, well, you undergrads,
Yes.
have fun. I'm gonna go sit in my
Have fun.
office.
We're the undergrads. Yeah.
You're your own undergrads. Okay. Oh, it's a lot of work. Running a farm's a lot of work. Is this your second season being open, or the second year?
This we technically opened doors this fall for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Now
Oh,
we
so
did
this is like your
spontaneously,
big-
like Kaylee said, the tulips were too
Sure,
pretty,
right,
basically,
right.
not to share last year after we got them up. They looked really great, and so we opened our doors
Okay,
for
okay.
like a weekend or so,
Yeah,
just
it
to
was-
let people out to see them. But this fall was our first, what we actually consider our first season or our first time to open our gates.
Actually, and now that you say that, I remember your grand opening stuff. on
Yes,
Sunset.
yes.
How did it go? Was that fun?
It was.
It was fun. We
Mhm.
had lots of friends and family who have helped us along the way, and we ate food and looked at tulips. There was a photographer out here to take pictures and all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, I think it went well. So
That's cool. So as far as this is a little bit of a tangent maybe, but as far as like marketing a place like this, because it's you're here near the Dallas metroplex, and I feel like people are not lacking for things to do,
Sure.
right? Like there's a lot of competition. So but a lot of that competition is not like outside at a beautiful farm. It's I live in Lubbock. I don't know what people do to have fun. We don't do that. We watch the dust blow. I don't know. So like, what's your strategy, or how are you getting the word out about your farm? Like what things are you trying to hit on?
Sure. So I think the main thing that we're just trying to push is that it's a thing to do with your family. Like, it is different than going to the movies or going out to eat or all the other millions of things that you can do in Dallas. So when you're out here, hopefully phones are put away and tablets are put away and all that, and you're kind of unplugged and you're just in nature and enjoying time outside together and having fun and making those memories, right? Like, our big goal is for families to make memories so that they can remember the time that we went out to the pumpkin patch and it was such a great time, or we went and we get our tree every year from Groveville Farms. And so just those memories, so that as families grow up and get older, and how as adults now, it's kind of, sometimes it's complicated, right, to get with family and make those things happen, but you always think back to those really sweet times. And so that is our goal. And so I think we try to just hit on that, and we use social media, of course, as a main outlet and all that kind of stuff, and word of mouth is a huge thing for us. So started off a little slow for us, the first couple of weekends, but then it was like, oh yeah, well, so-and-so told me and so-and-so told me, and so then it just snowballs. And so
that's really cool. And I mean, like, we get that a lot. So we didn't really have a peach season this year because of Lubbock, but that's kind of the same thing. Like, we have our social media stuff, but it's also very much, oh, someone said you have peaches,
right?
And it'll be like October. We're like, we don't. They're all
not
gone
right now.
They're in South America, like whatever. But no, that is an interesting experience, creating like a destination. And y'all have done this like from the ground up, right? Like literally from the ground up.
Yes, from the ground up. But it's rewarding too, though, when you hear, like Kaylee said, the first couple weekends, sure, we had a few friends and family come out, a couple people we didn't know, but then, when you start the third weekend, somebody comes and, oh, so-and-so, and it gets even really exciting when you don't even know so-and-so. You're like, oh, well, thank you for coming, I don't know who that is, but thank you, kind of deal. And it's a lot of fun to see and to know that they had a good experience, and that they did get to make those memories that were after, because I assume that if they didn't, they wouldn't recommend us, right? So it's a lot of fun to get to see that, all that hard work is paying off, I guess, if that makes sense. So,
how big is the farm here? Because it looks like it's it's not small for sure.
So we're 48 acres.
That's a lot of acres,
is the total number, of acres on the property. Now, not all of it will be farm. We've got a 5-acre pond and different kinds of things like that. But we're 48 acres total land here. So,
well, and the agritourism thing, I think, is becoming such a big thing. I mean, it's not new, right?
Right.
But maybe it's coming back. I don't know. Maybe it is a new thing. Growing up in ag land, in West Texas, it was like, okay, there's, I don't know, because there we have the corn maze that is, that's like a big thing, and it's an interesting thing of what you can do with land, right? Because I think the guy that owns the corn maze was growing corn, and he was like, I don't want to grow corn to sell corn. Sure. I want to grow corn to scare children. And so, like, they've been, a big thing out there. So, I love to hear that y'all are doing that here. I think that's a great thing. And I think that, driving out here, you kind of get out of the metroplex. You get to drive through, like, the beautiful countryside here in North Texas. Because it really is pretty.
For sure.
There's trees.
That's
my standards are pretty low. I just need trees, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
So, Kaylee, are you commuting in still?
Yes. So I live in East Dallas, so over pretty close to like White Rock Lake, that area. So I commute in just usually 3 days a week. Sometimes less, sometimes more. It depends. But so that's fun. You said you enjoyed the drive, and I was like, well, it was okay.
I only had to do it once.
He's doing it once.
I got to do it once and look at trees, and you're like, oh, that's pretty.
But it is nice. You talked about coming out and getting out of the metroplex and stuff, and so it really is kind of like an escape for me sometimes. Like whenever life is crazy, like in Dallas, or like it's been terrible traffic getting out here or whatever, then I can just come out here and it's peaceful and quiet and
take a deep breath
and get happy again before I get back on the road.
and not see people, like lots and lots of people.
Right.
So has that been an adjustment for you coming from? I guess you live out here, right, at the farm.
Yes, we
is
are
your
in
home.
my house
I am
right
in
now.
your home.
Yes,
okay.
you are.
I don't know why that didn't dawn on me. I'm like, it looks like a house.
Yes.
You were talking about moving into this house. Whatever. I'm sorry. But like, so coming from, because Lubbock is not large town USA. I mean, it's not small, but it's not big. So coming from like a rural background, has that been an adjustment moving to the Dallas metroplex?
To Dallas.
Are you used to it yet?
Yeah, and I love Dallas.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably one of the reasons we haven't moved further out this way or whatever. But yes, so right, I grew up in a town with 300 people was my town, and then went to Lubbock, which is a little bigger than Abilene, but not much.
Not a lot.
And then moved to Dallas. At first, I feel like it was kind of a shocker for sure, but yeah, then it's just been home. So yeah, I love the Dallas area, but I also really love that I get to come back out to the country on a regular basis and
that's awesome.
Get away from it all for a while.
I still remember when the first Starbucks opened in Lubbock, which I don't know if that makes me old or I don't know what that says about me or Lubbock, but I remember when the first Starbucks and everyone was like, it's like civilization. We can go and get a mediocre cup of coffee at a major chain. And I mean, we've grown past that a little bit, but
I mean, y'all have like a cheesecake factory now or
I
something,
know,
right?
When we went out there for Dr. McKinney's retirement, I was shocked. I mean, I hadn't been back, I guess, and it was that's a lot of new. I mean, a whole lot of new. It was pretty cool.
Lubbock doesn't look the same as when we were in school.
Oh no, it doesn't, and it's grown a lot. And I think I think the next census will be pretty close to 300,000 in the city.
Oh wow,
maybe 350 in the county. It's gotten pretty big. People keep moving there, whether we want them to or not. They keep moving there. So like, I think it's funny because like when we post pictures, whenever you see a picture of a Lubbock on the internet anywhere, it's a dust storm.
Sure.
Right. It's an 8,000 foot wall of dust blowing into Lubbock, and we try to push that image out there so people stay away. Like, this is what it's like every day of the year here. Right. It is pretty much Mars, but. I remember I don't remember if we were in the same class. Did we take that Dr. Kay's graduate seminar class together?
Yeah, I think so. When it got like super dark.
Yes.
We're like, we're all going to die today.
This was like 2011 maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
So we're sitting in this graduate seminar class and I don't know, learning about posters or something. I don't really remember. And Dr. K won't listen to this, so it'll be fine. Or if he does, he'll come make an angry face at me. That's okay too. I'm not cutting any of this out. We're sitting in this graduate seminar class, and it's like 4 p.m, and like you get used to it turning brown in Lubbock, right. But then it starts to turn like orange, and then red, and then the street lights come on. I'm like, I'm gonna die in this freaking graduate seminar class. And that was an experience.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Was it you and I, or was it Adam and I?
It was
that one. I mean, we were literally trying to beat it out of town.
We were trying to go down for like last round of data. So my olive stuff was down in South Texas. So Amber and I made I don't know how many loops from Lubbock to Carrizo Springs to Georgetown back to Lubbock.
It's a long trip.
But yeah, we were going, and it was like, oh, we got to get on the road. We cannot stop.
So we did. I remember we ended up like stopping to eat in Abilene or something instead. Like we were trying to outrun it so that we would not have blackness all around.
It's crazy.
Creepiness, yes.
And so if you're out there listening from a normal part of the universe where you don't have 8,000 foot walls of dust blow into town, like congratulations, but that's something. That is something to experience.
It's an experience, yeah.
I don't know if it's
for
a good one or a bad one, but it's an experience.
An experience. Sure.
And like I just remember people like being outside, like running for class or like running for a building, like, anywhere. Like oh man, it's like this is not Baghdad. Okay, whatever. So as far as I'm trying to figure out how the best way to ask this question. So you've talked about some of the different things you want to bring to the farm, like winery maybe, and a different. Where do y'all have both worked in horticulture and agriculture for quite a while now. Where do you see us going? What do you think the next big thing is? Do you think like the wine industry keeps growing? Do you think because I know California is not happy with how well the Texas wine industry is growing. I mean, is that something you see as like where everything goes, or is there something else on the road that I don't know about? Easy questions. I just
Easy
like to throw stuff at
questions.
you. Yeah.
Well, they did just, release the Pierce disease resistant grapes, so hey, that's a bonus.
Yeah, that's a big deal, actually.
Yeah. I don't know, really. I think it's just, I think we can tell, like, anything that's hands-on, right? So people can come out to the wineries, people can come out to the vineyards, people can come out to a farm like ours and kind of experience it. I feel like if it's an experience, then people are going to be all on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least for small-scale agriculture. I mean, of course, you've still got cotton and wheat and all the above, but, like, for small-scale stuff, I think
the farm to table movement's really big right now too.
True.
In fact, when you get in, to the outskirts even of the metroplex, there's still lots of restaurants that are trying to do farm to table. A lot of them will come out to farms and have dinners there that have locally grown products and things like that. And that's we see a lot of people out on the farm, or a lot of people who I talk to have interest in us also have interest in that farm to table movement. It's kind of a back to the way things used to be kind of movement, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, you can pull it off huge, large scale, but for us, that seems to be working in our favor. So,
well, sure. And I think there is this movement back to, I don't know, learning about where food comes from, because, and this has come up before on the show, but like for the longest time, it was like, where does milk come from? It comes from the grocery store. Right. And so, I mean, I think what y'all are doing is really important. I think that, yeah, I mean, it's entertainment, it's all that, but more than that, there's been such a disconnect in the past. I don't know. I'm 32, and I know definitely in my lifetime, a huge disconnect from the things we eat. And, it's led to a whole lot of health problems in the United States and all of that. So, is like growing vegetables for farm to table stuff? Is there like, you can like plop a restaurant out here on stilts in the lake? I don't know. Like, I'm just curious as to what other things could be cool. Like, what other stuff could happen?
So I don't know if vegetables aren't necessarily high on my thing for providing for farm to table. I want more people kind of out here, but we have toyed with the idea of a restaurant or something like that long term. We've toyed with the idea of going into more cut flowers and things like that. So maybe we could provide for, a florist or something like that, but then also have people come out here to do you pick. But our goal really is to keep it all on the farm, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Not so much trying to figure out logistics on how to get it out from the farm. Now, if we end up at a farmer's market or something like that promoting, we may do some of that, but not so much getting out and about. But you talk about formative moments and a disconnect. One of the formative moments where I knew I wanted to do field trips on this farm was when I was at Tech, actually, and still had this farm back in my brain for the someday kind of moment. I had a student who was so shocked that cucumbers could be turned into pickles that I actually brought everything to class, and we did this as an experiment because I mean, shocked. I was probably not even like the magnitude of what I mean, I was just thinking, you're sitting here in 1411 as a college freshman.
As an adult, yeah.
And we don't know how we get pickles, kind of deal. And so we did. My class, took a lab and made pickles because, I don't know, I just felt like that's something you should know, that they were once cucumbers. We grew cucumbers in 1411, right? Which is how this happened, But that same semester, the milk from the grocery store, no lie, it came out of a student, when you ask kids where they get milk, I was told that tomatoes did not have genes unless they were genetically modified. So
I don't know what to do with
yes,
that.
I couldn't fix that one. You can't fix them all, but we did what we could, kind of deal. And so when you mentioned formative moments earlier, and that should have definitely been one. That was one where I was just like, wow, obviously not everyone in the world is going to come out to our farm and see it, but that's one thing that, even people not here on field trips or whatever, Kaylee and I are available, and they ask questions and we talk to them and talk to the kiddos and, I don't know, hopefully teach them a little bit about agriculture and where their food comes from. And that kind of stuff, because it was one of those shocker moments for me. I'm like, okay, well, forget today. We're going to make pickles, kind of deal, and see this. So,
well, and speaking of kiddos, like y'all both have families, you both have kids. Like, what's it like? I would think it'd be such a cool thing for little ones to be able to like grow up out here a little bit. Like, do your kids enjoy being out here? Are they like, I would like to go sit inside and do something else, or is it?
Em liked it for the first 2 weekends, and then she was done.
Mine probably feel a little different because they don't actually live on the farm.
That's true.
But yes, Mason, my oldest, finds it very cool that his mom drives a tractor at work. So,
that is pretty cool.
Scoring some major boy mom points there.
That's a lot of mom points.
But yes.
So Em, she does well. She gets, every once in a while. Last year she had strep.
Oh.
She got to plant bulbs anyways because I didn't have another. I mean, she was fever free. I did. No. Disclaimer here. I did wait until she was fever free, but she wasn't able to go back to school, and we had bulbs to plant. Kind of deal. So I think growing up on the farm, she gets a little. Maybe more farm experience some days than she would like, but she's really happy that we sold lemonade this year. So that was my mom points. She'd been asking if we were going to have a lemonade stand, and we pulled that one off. And so she's okay. She's good for another season now, she says.
You got one more out of her.
Yes, I got one more out of her by putting in a lemonade stand. So.
Yeah, see, I think Bradley would love it because there's days we can't get him to come back inside. My parents live outside of town, and he'll just, his poor pawpaw, they have like a big circle driveway, and they got him this little like electric race car. It's it's a nicer car than I have. And he will literally drive it around that circle for or ride his tricycle for hours. And after a while he gets bored and he's like, Pawpaw, walk with me. So, my 65-year-old father-in-law gets his exercise in chasing Bradley around in his little car. But I think that's important. I think that's cool that they get such a different experience than probably, a lot of other kids today will ever get. Even, and it's an interesting kind of niche thing because there's still farm kids that grow up pulling weeds in cotton fields and riding a planter and, all those things. But this is kind of a different, it's fun.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's work, but work can be fun.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
We try to make it fun, at least as much fun as we can.
Do you still work out in the farm and sing Disney songs? Because that's a vivid experience for me.
That actually just crossed my mind. No, we needed Becky for the Disney songs. Yes. Becky was the big. I would join in, obviously.
I'm not the initiator of
Kaylee does not initiate Disney songs, so we don't sing them.
Oh.
So.
Well, maybe Dr. Becky can come visit sometime.
Yes, and we need her for maybe planting season if we can't get our fancy planter. Hey, Becky.
She listens, I think.
Come and help us plant.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. I'll feed you.
They won't lock the gate on you.
Maybe.
I winked. I don't know if you can see it, but it's okay. I'm looking at the time. Yeah, we're pretty good. So we'll start kind of wrapping up a little bit, but from both of you, I'd like to hear if you had a piece of advice for people out there, whether it's farm related or whatever else. We're just trying to get tips and tricks from our folks that we're interviewing. What would that be? What would you want people to know either about nature or agriculture or horticulture or how much kids like to climb on dinner tables, or I don't care, whatever. What's something that y'all would like to get out there?
That's a tough one.
I know, and I like to not prep people for this. It's kind of mean. I should send a list of questions.
I should have known, though. I mean, I've listened to 2 episodes. I should have known it was coming. I forgot, though. I think mine kind of related to plants, and it's probably an oversimplification, but I hear whenever people ask what I do and I tell them, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I just cannot grow plants at all. And I'm like, well, but you can. I don't know. I feel like people have it in their mind. They have this, either they have a green thumb or they have a black thumb. But really, it just takes some trial and error. And so my advice to people whenever they're always like, I cannot grow anything. I'm like, well, what have you tried to grow? Maybe let's try to grow something a little easier, start out with something that's basically a weed and then go with it, something, because I think there is such a joy of growing a plant and, whether that's a vegetable and then harvesting the fruit and, feeding yourself and your family, or growing a succulent inside that looks super cute in a little concrete planter or something. Like, people love plants, and so my advice is, like, just give it a go. Like, if it doesn't work the first time, just keep trying.
Did she take
She
yours?
went one sentence too much. One sentence too
you gotta
far.
come up with another one.
Now there's
She
going to
took
be
yours.
another awkward pause that we have
That's
to wait
fine.
a while, because mine was going to be simple. Mine was just going to be like, if you
I'll
don't
look up some-
succeed the first time, try again,
I'll look
right?
up some elevator music and cut it in right
Yes,
here.
please do. While I'm, thinking again about my. So you want this to be plant related?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
I mean, I guess theoretically, it's a plant podcast, but it can be whatever.
big plant words of wisdom.
Or nature, or life, or I really don't care.
Think.
No, you're fine. Just like I said,
This is one of these things you can cut out, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This is the nice thing about podcasts.
I saw your face. It doesn't look convincing, actually.
That I'm going to cut it out?
Yes.
I
but
might. I
that's
probably
okay.
will.
It's okay. My problem is I have one that's not related to plants, and I can't get it out of my mind.
That's fine.
I'm just going to say, if it's not fun, don't do it. Life's too short.
I really
So,
like that.
yeah, if it's not fun, don't do it. It's been our family motto since birth, and it doesn't mean that we don't have to take a test because, it's not fun in the moment. But do as many things as you can in life that you love,
I love that.
basically,
That's great advice.
whether it's plants or whatever else. So,
Yeah, I like that a lot. So I guess that's mostly it. Is there anything I forgot? Do you have like events coming up? So this in the future us, we're listening to this in like early March probably. So what's coming up? What do we need to tell people about?
So tulips open whenever tulips decide to bloom. Hopefully mid-February. That's weather dependent, right? So hopefully mid-February, late February, depending on how much cold we get and how fast it warms up. So come on out, visit the farm, check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page. We'll be here. Aside from tulips, we'll have food truck, we'll have petting zoo,
Ooh.
we'll have farm games. Yeah, there's a whole list of things. You can definitely come out and spend a few hours. So,
Petting zoos are fun.
Mm-hmm. Especially with Bruiser.
What's Bruiser?
What's Bruiser? Bruiser is our coony pig.
I don't know what that means, but I'm really excited about it.
So you'll have to see him.
I really want. I'll take a picture.
He's kind of the farm mascot who loves apples and sleeping
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And belly rubs.
and belly.
So
Oh yes,
he lives his best life
I
in
was
the
going to
petting
say,
zoo.
that sounds like a pretty darn good life.
Yes.
Naps, belly rubs, and fruit.
the petting zoo. Yeah, as Kaylee said, that is definitely his best life.
He's
He
pretty
can
much
just-
a Roman citizen.
Yes,
People feed him apples,
Yes.
rub his belly. It's great.
yes, he has a lot of fun. So, anyways, but yeah,
That's fun. Okay. So Instagram, Facebook, you just said that. Are you in Twitter? Do you do Twitter?
No,
That's probably for the
we
best.
stay off the Twitter.
That's a good idea. I've started the Twitter because of this. I said the Twitter. I like to say the Twitter. It makes me sound even older than I actually am. I've started it because of this podcast, and I don't want to. I don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
But- so if you're a follower on Twitter listening to this, just be nice to people. That's my advice for
Yeah,
you. Just be
there you
nice
go.
to people. Stop
you
being
go.
so mean to people. Well, thank y'all so much for talking with me. I know it was I kind of sprung it on you, but I thought it was fun. I
thanks
enjoyed
for
it.
coming out. Yeah, it was fun.
I'm looking forward to meeting Bruiser.
Yes,
Yes.
it's just out there.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna take pictures. He may be the picture. He may be every media picture before this episode when it comes out.
Perfect.
I like pigs. So it turns out I did get to meet Bruiser the pig after all, and it was worth the wait, and just as wonderful as you might have expected. He's fuzzy and round and funny, and I really want a Bruiser the pig now. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift for me, buy me a Cooney pig named Bruiser. Actually, I think my wife's listening from the other room since I'm recording this at home from quarantine, and she probably does not want me to get a pet pig. Thanks for listening. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. It was so much fun to make and such a great time to catch up with old friends. As always, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. The Facebook group again is called Planthropology's Cool Plant People. We'll be doing weekly episodes here for the next few weeks at least. I'm hoping through the end of May is kind of my plan. And then we'll just kind of evaluate, see what life looks like, and go from there. But y'all are the best. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next week.